So, what are we doing today then, Sam?
Well, we're starting a mini. You've stitched me up. We're starting a mini series, and it's titled, Ryan will correct me, Academic Agony Aunts.
Why would you do a second PhD? Like, what the fuck? Explain it to me like I'm a person with only one PhD, which I am.
Surely, if journals/editors can't find enough reviewers these days, and so many of us are ejecting to review, they should consider adding some incentives.
So, before I go off on one here. Welcome back, everyone. It is episode 5 of the Empty Space Inbetween. 5 episodes in. Well, technically 6 episodes, but 5 main episodes.
Yeah, I keep calling it number 6 since we...
Oh, lad, he's an absolute nightmare when it comes to like the foldering system.
Oh yeah, I keep calling the pod one after.
Like you're in behind the curtain on Google Drive, we have like all the plans and stuff where we'll say for each episode, and every fucking week you'll put it in the one. Like, so you put this one in next week's one.
Oh, that's...
Every time.
I remember when that's on the first episode, that belly, fucking let's call it episode 0. And lad, I knew from that fucking day, just be confused, man.
You can tell who codes in R and who codes in Python.
Well, lads, you know, on my private folders, I'm still calling this pod episode 6. And then when I put it on the drive for us to share, I retitle it 5 because I've started, and the first episode is episode 1, and I'm not retitling all the folders, man. So that's the fucking end of it.
That's just how it's going. But yeah, so we're back again, bringing it from one of our favourite pubs, bringing our voices to your ears from one of our favourite pubs, the Ship and Mitre. Thank you today. I can't forget what I'm drinking because it says it on the bottle. Lowenbrau. Even you tried a bit of this, lovely, innit?
Oh yeah, it was
nice German beer. But don't know why I give a live taste review.
Quite
there.
wheaty.
That was really good for the audio only listeners.
I've seen on Twitter and like people taste wine and they go, quite earthy, got fruity undertones,
fruity notes.
Fruity notes. Like, what are you fucking on about, lads? I taste wine. I go, yeah, it tastes like every other fucking glass of wine. A pint of shit.
Oh no, lad, do you not like wine?
Wine's gross, lad.
Oh, you're a fucking loser.
I don't mind like rosé. In a field when I was 15 or like
Echo Falls,
yeah, lad, or when you go to a festival, lad, and you need like cheap ale to carry around, you get a bag of Echo Falls, lad, just pin it to your side to your keks,
lad. I've started doing that when we go to like big gigs and that. I've started doing that now.
Carry a bag of
like, so you know, like instead of buying pints, I'll buy a bottle of wine from so it's like 20 quid for like a
glass bottle.
No, so they do them in plastic bottles.
Right, okay.
So it's like 20 odd quid for a bottle of wine. That's worth like 5 quid. But it's well better and it gets you more like pissed quicker. So basically, you're just being more efficient with your liquid to save you pissing.
There's nothing worse than waiting in a fucking festival queue for a pint or a gig queue for a pint. You walk away. By the time you've got out of the fucking hustle and bustle, you've drank half of it.
And then the problem is, by the time you've had like 8 pints in the thing, lad, you can't stop needing a piss.
Yeah, lad, I just
want to watch the gig. Yeah. So, what are we doing today then, Sam?
Well, we're starting a mini. You've stitched me up. We're starting a mini series, and it's titled, Ryan will correct me, Academic Agony Aunts.
Yeah, Agony Aunts.
Agony Aunts
with Ryan and Sam.
Okay,
yeah, so
Ryan and Sam.
We want to do it. So every 5 weeks, I think it is. So on every episode, divisible by 5. We're fucking horrible nerds, aren't we?
Yeah.
So episode 5. So the next one will be episode 10, and then the idea is just a standard Agony Aunt type approach, but with an academic
queries of the academic world.
Yeah, is it PhD problems? Are you academic problems? Take them in, give our opinions on them for what they're worth.
And we want people to start dropping. So we're going to do this, as Ryan said, every 5 episodes. Start dropping your problems if you're in academia, or you've got a problem with research in general. You've been a student in the past. You're a PhD student. And you want us to address an issue, no matter how serious or how soft it is, get it in, man.
No, yeah,
we want to address them.
We're appealing to the audience. So the questions we've got today have been taken from various places on the internet. Sam will go into more of that in a minute because he's compiled the list. So a bit more background on kind of what we're going to do is every episode. So Sam's collated all the questions he's going to ask me, so they'll be fresh for me. I've never seen these questions before.
Yeah, Belly has never seen any of these issues.
So you're about to get my live reactions.
So whatever he says is fucking what he thinks.
Yeah, that is like, I've had no time to prepare this off the cuff.
I'm going to have to edit this audio a lot. He's going to say some offensive shit.
Yeah, so at the end, we're going to sign off in a minute. This podcast is 2 minutes long. No, and then the next one we do at episode 10, I'll get all the questions and you'll have Sam's fresh takes. So that's the idea.
I won't have seen them. I'll still address some of them, but I've seen them because I collected them.
Yeah. So as we were saying, most of these from the internet, Sam will go into that. But in future episodes, we want to get questions in from our lovely audience. You continue to support us through likes and comments. Thank you once again. Let us know your problems and we'll give our very...
We are trained in academic therapy.
Experts, yeah.
We are experts, yeah.
We'll give our expert opinions, which you will disregard instantly because they'll be absolutely worthless.
I have counselled Ryan many a time, man.
And it's not worked once.
Yeah, it made me feel much worse.
Right then, Sam, so you tell us where you got these questions from then.
So yeah, I have scoured the worldwide interweb and I collected questions from different places. The main place was there's a thing called Academic Chatter.
Did you use the hashtag or the Twitter account?
Both.
So
yeah, people can like drop their problems, questions about anything to do with the academic world on this platform. They've got an Instagram, a Twitter, and I collected some wild, funny, interesting questions from Academic Chatter. Serious. I also just scoured Twitter in general. For people who had questions about anything to do with research, academia, PhD, masters, undergraduate, people with the problems, man, who are asking questions. As I say, serious to soft. I've also been on Google.
The standard Google.
I haven't been on Bing. I've been on Google.
Just Bing it, lad.
Nah, I've been on Google and went on like forums, just like open forums, from academic ones to just like general ones where people are asking questions about something to do with research, something to do with academia, as I say, degrees, whatever, and I've collected what I think are the best ones, and Ryan has seen none of them.
I've seen none of it. So this is going to be a car crasher. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. So let's see where this takes us. So what you're just
right? Shall I start off?
So have you just got like a massive list? You're just going to pick some.
I'm just going to pick them.
As we go. See where life takes us.
I'm going to see where life takes me. So
this number one.
First question.
Shit.
Right, Belly, you ready?
Are we going serious or funny first?
Doesn't matter. You're not telling. You're just getting them.
No, because the problem is if you give me a serious one, I start laughing.
You think it's a soft one? Yeah. These are someone's dead, like heartfelt question, and you just start going. The fuck?
Start crying, laughing.
I'm not giving you that. You're
not giving me any insight.
It.
No, right, go on.
Right.
Then. First question.
I'm attending an academic conference next week. I've been asked to share a hotel room with someone I don't know from a different university. Do you think this is acceptable?
Lad, do you want to say what's mad? Is I saw a Twitter thread on this. Funny enough, the other day, it wasn't the same one, but basically it was I think it was someone who was already a doctor, so passed the PhD.
Yeah.
A lecturer, and they were basically talking about apparently that this used to be like standard practice going to conferences, you know, because it's so expensive.
You just get banged with anyone.
So there used to be, whether it was banned with anyone or banned with people from your same uni and that.
Yeah. Well, this person has been asked to share with someone they don't know from a different uni.
Yeah, so she was basically saying this professor or lecturer on Twitter, she was basically saying like she can see the difference already between like people her age who I just weren't asked.
Are comfortable with it.
Are comfortable because that's what they grew up with, and like students nowadays are going, you can get fucked. I want my own room.
Well, lads,
so the problem is, I don't think I'd be asked.
Nah, lad, it depends, lad.
No, fully does depend.
Like, lad, I've had some. That's happened to me, lad. Not in an academic space, lad. Years ago, lad. Yeah. I used to run for the areas. And we went to this. There used to be this competition called the English Schools, lad. And it was in Birmingham, and the team got took to a hotel with like the coach and staff.
Yeah.
And they used to try and like get the club, like the athletes to mingle with each other. because obviously you got like little cliques, like the sprinters are together, the long distance runners are together, the throwers are together.
Like High School Musical.
Lads, yeah. To repeat Sharpay and Gabriella all over again. So lad, they give you a random assignment. So like you might be a fucking, you know, or whatever, and you get assigned with like an 800 meter runner, but you're a sprinter. And it was to just try and get the
forced
that,
fun,
like team camaraderie, you know what I mean, like forced
the best
fun.
type of
and
fun.
You get out your hotel room and you'd like go to your little clique, like, oh lads, I've been stuck with him. But lads, before I went, we got a letter of all the people who were going.
Yeah.
And someone was on there, lads, and the guy's second name was Wigglesworth. And I remember looking at the list with our kid, lads, and he went, lads, why does his name sound like a cat? Lads, sounds like he's a pet, lad,
I'm
Mr.
so
Wigglesworth.
sorry if anyone's listening called Wigglesworth. You got the best name ever.
Lads, and I got put with him. And we were on the coach, and like the coach got on, the member of staff got on, he was like, right, Sam Meredith, I'm not going to say the kid's first name, with space Wigglesworth, and lads. But the weird thing was, he done weird stuff.
See, that's what had thrown me off, because I think...
Like he slept naked.
See, that you've got to put some bills
Lads,
on at least.
yeah, lads, and I was a kid, lad, I was
mean?
like 15, he was 15, we got into bed, lads, in the same room, and he like slid his bills off. And I went like, lad, what are you doing? And he went, I can't sleep with clothes on. So that's the problem, lads. You bump into weirdos, lads, who just live a different way to you, and you've got to put up with it because you're at a conference.
That's what I mean. Like, the problem, I'd put up with it for the conference, but like it's a weird one, innit? And also, the amount unis make nowadays.
You can put people in their own
just
rooms,
fucking pay for separate rooms.
Yeah, if it was like me, and if I knew you,
yeah, like if me and you
we
were
in
going
the same
like
research, I'd go, I'll room with Ryan, or I'll room with, you know, someone I know.
Yeah.
But to go with someone random, they could be sound, but like, there's the chance you're gonna end up with someone who just disconnects.
And I think
with you,
if it's from your same research area, not research area, sorry, from same like research team or the same university, I think that's a lot better as well.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have much objections really to most of the the people. Not most. Like I said that, like, there's defo someone.
She's been rooming with someone at the conference from a different uni.
That's where. No, now I think about it. That's where I'd be like,
you don't know this girl. You know what I mean? Like, who could it be?
Yeah. No, I think that one is tough because one, I'd want to go to the conference. So say if I had to do it to go to the conference, especially
putting you in a shit position.
At PhD level, I don't think you have that's the issue. You don't have a choice. That you've got to go to this conference. But come on, unis, step your fucking game up, man. Just get people a room.
Belly tinks, get your own room. You know what I mean?
Unis pay students for their own room.
No, fucking banging me with fucking Pat the cleaner, man.
Yeah, no.
Right.
I changed my mind on that one. I started off one that I went, whoa.
You straight away thought, yeah, I'd room.
No, I'd be like, yeah,
get a few beers in, then I told you the story about me getting roomed at Wigglesworth.
And it's just throw me right off. But yeah, just say no and get your own room. I think that's it. I've changed my mind on that.
Right. Question 2. I've been accepted to a PhD program.
Mm-hmm.
Should I do it? Question mark.
Right, so this is quite an open-ended, serious one, isn't it? So, the question is, I think a lot of people now... So my take on this is I've thought about this quite a lot, but it doesn't really... But my opinion on this stems from my opinion on university in general. Is I think going to university is pushed too much in that there's so much regard placed on it.
Yeah.
So, like, there are so many fulfilling careers. Like, I can only comment on the fact, the university career path, because that's all I know.
That's all I've done. Yeah,
but, like, apprenticeships, there's so many other things you can do that aren't pushed as much, simply because colleges don't get ranked on, like, the amount of people who go to apprenticeships and that. So, it's the same principle. Like, people go uni who don't want to go uni, and then people do a master's who don't want to do a master's.
Yeah.
But I think, and then people will do a PhD who don't necessarily want to do a PhD. But I think that's where, if you don't want to do it, it shows up real fucking quick. Because a master's is, by and large, very similar to an undergrad in that.
It's a year.
It's a year. You do modules. You do people. Coursework. You with people. Everyone's doing the same thing. You do coursework. You do exams. You get a test. You finish.
Yeah, lad, you're right. Yeah.
Whereas with a PhD, I say this all the time.
You're out in the abyss, lad.
One of the hardest things for me about doing a PhD isn't the work, because I expect the work to be hard. Like,
it's the isolation, lad.
It's the isolation, and it's the mental side of it where it's like, right, I don't finish for 3 years, and I'm going to be doing near enough like the same research area for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
How do I keep going? Especially when you know this, especially when you get a year and a half in and you go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
You've worked on 5 or 6 different projects. They're all kind of in the middle of
where they're meant to be.
Where they're meant to be. You've not completed anything and you're sitting there going, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
I think people... So I'm taking this person as either at the end of obviously at the end of an undergrad,
or the end of a
they're
master's.
at the end of a master's, or they've done that, went away for a bit, and they've been offered a PhD, and now they're thinking do a go back. So there's a few different scenarios, but you're right, lads. If you are coming from like, I've just done an undergrad or a master's, it is not like that at all.
It's not just. It's like people say, oh, it's the next step in academia. It's so much more than that because it's such a commitment. Like PhDs don't get paid a lot of money.
Yeah, you're doing it for passion. You're doing it because
you
like
you want to do it. Like,
yeah,
you get paid to do it, and like people say, "Oh, I get paid for the next 3 years."
It's like a vocation, rather than
yeah.
a fucking...
But like the thing is, say if you do a PhD, it's not a pass and fail. Like, it is. No, but I mean, like, if you fail, it's not like you get another go.
Oh yeah, you'd have to go get another PhD program and start again.
Like you fail,
I mean? Yeah.
And then that looks terrible. So imagine you go for another job and you go, I just did it for 3 years to get money and I failed. Didn't get anything out of it.
What you said then, lad, I think people... So for this person, it's all, whoever you are, it is circumstantial. But if you've done an undergrad or a master's and you enjoyed like the group working and seeing your mates every day and going out and having a laugh, and you know, then you had some exams to do at the end of the year, you had to write a little mini research paper or a dissertation on something. It's the opposite, as you say. You're on your own. It's your own project. There isn't this like big 30 people in a class all doing the same thing. You get told you've got to research this. You get some help off your supervisors. You get some materials, and you sit on your own and work on it.
And this is the thing as well. I think we're in one camp, because I think some PhD research institutes, or not PhD, like research institutes, they get that experience where, you know, all the research will be in one room. And so again, I suppose it
depends, lad.
So, but I think COVID has changed the landscape of doing a PhD a lot. So to come back then to like the original question, should you do a PhD? The question is, it's not should you do a PhD, it's do you like love the topic that you go into research, because that's what'll trip you up. And I think one thing I think the key attribute for someone who does well in a PhD is, as I said, just that determination. Stamina, just to go, get up and just go, right, I can't really see the end, but I'm just going to do the next step on this project. And then eventually, like when you get to me third year, you do enough of them little steps that it makes sense in the third year now what I'm doing. But I didn't really know my PhD workflow from start to finish until a few months ago.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose, you're right, lad, and I suppose the short question would be, do you enjoy, have you done any research in the past, which you probably have if you're thinking about doing it, but it's probably been a little 4-month window, 6-month window, a year max, and it's been, you know, a short period of time where you've got together some plans, some data's been given to you, or some, you know, you've got to go and do interviews or something, you've done it in a few weeks, you've analysed it, and you've pushed a thesis out like 6 weeks. It's that, but imagine the bit in the middle where you're like working on your data is 2.5 years long. Like, it's not 4 weeks long.
No, and it's hard.
The write-up isn't 6 weeks long.
Because what you're doing is stuff no one's done before. That's the whole point.
You can't Google, give me an example paper on fluid dynamics, you know what I mean? Like, it hasn't existed, you know what I mean?
So I think to wrap this question up, should you do a PhD? Do you enjoy what you're doing? Because then, if you, and don't be money driven.
Lads, if you're money driven, go and do something else.
Yeah, because you're not, the PhD's not going to pay the big money.
Academia's not going to pay the big money.
Not in comparison to what you can do.
That's what I mean. If you are thinking about I want to earn a lot of money in my life, then don't wait 2 years doing a PhD.
But like, you can do, because you can go into industry, as we said, one of our mates, he's gone.
But it's going to have to be after a PhD.
Yeah, so you can do. So I think it's if you're passionate about the topic, do it. But then also you've got to be kind of wary that don't do a topic that's again, if you're using a PhD as a stepping stone, don't do a PhD in a topic that's not popular or is like leads to a dead end type thing. Because if you do a PhD and you spend 3 years in this research area, but that research area is quite exhausted, and you're like, it's all like niche offshoots, you're kind of limited then.
If you're doing that, you've got to love the topic.
Yeah, and then you've like that's a proper. I'm going to stay in research and XYZ type stuff, and
I love looking into fucking how this species of animal migrates.
So it's not as easy as saying yes and no. It's kind of.
I think.
I
have you got the stamina? Have you got the love for the topic? If you're money driven or you're not too sure about, if you're just following sort of the academic pathway without thinking about it, it's probably not for you. If you are super passionate, is your answer in it? Then maybe.
And like you can, if you really wanted to, fumble your way through a PhD. But then you've got to...
That's what I'm doing.
But then you've got to ask yourself, was there a better way I could have spent 3 years?
You're going to die one day, so...
Yeah, there we go. So
right.
To short version, that answer depends. See our list of reasons, that's kind of it. But the main one for me, if you're passionate, do it.
Right. This is from, I don't know the person it's from, but this is from a PhD in law.
Right.
So they're doing a PhD in law.
I'm already known.
So this is a bit out of our realm, but it's you can answer it.
Right, go on.
OpenAI's ChatGPT-4 passed the law bar exam with a result in the 90th percentile.
Yeah.
Will ChatGPT cause a very serious disruption in tech and education going forward? I'm worried.
Already has done.
It already has done.
Of course it has. You've got institutions fucking sitting there going, it's going to change that. Like, this type of tech has already changed everything.
Yeah.
So, like, should you be worried? But then there is the question. Because there's two questions in that one question. Will it change it? Obviously. Because it already has done.
It already has, yeah.
And
how is it changing it?
Like, for example...
What do you mean by it already has done?
So, education... People can just take the piss with it and just get it to write whatever they want. It changes the way... So, for example, just from my own example, I was using the one on Bing the other day to learn...
Fuck Bing.
to learn, because that uses GPT-4.
Yeah,
so I was using it basically to learn how to do... Not learn, but I was like, I needed to do a scatter plot where each of the markers was a pie chart representing other stuff. No idea how to do that.
ChatGPT.
So I sat there with it for like a couple hours. Just gone back and forth. I'd get the code, test it, no, doesn't work, boom, boom. Right, in 2 hours, I had the basis of something which I couldn't get any more out of ChatGPT than it took me to figure the rest out. Yeah. But then the problem is the basis took me 2 hours, and then to get something I wanted took me like the next day and a half, because it was like, it's not a done thing, it's quite fiddly.
Yeah, so ChatGPT got you 30% of the way forward.
I'd say even more than that, it got me like 60-70% of the way there, 80% of the way there.
Yeah.
It's that last bit. So it's changing the way, for example, people learn.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to go scour and do the quick yourself. It can write stuff for you. It can do the tedious stuff for you. Like I hot desking a solicitors, and I showed it one of them. They were like, "Well, what can it do?" And I went, "What's a ridiculous tedious email you write? That's pretty much the same every time." They said, "Typed it in the prompt.
Bang, come out.
There's a tedious email, copy and paste."
And I've seen that now. Like they want to employ prompt engineers.
But then
they just know how to ask. They mightn't even need to be coders. They just know how to ask the best questions to get the most out of these softwares. But the thing is, the fact you need prompt engineers
shows that you shouldn't be worried as of yet.
But you still need a human to fuck with it.
Well, you need a prompt engineer. It's not that good.
Yeah.
Like, it's good.
But they'd have to read your fucking mind, wouldn't it, if you didn't have a prompt?
No, but I mean, like, it's not good enough.
Even speech is a prompt, you know what I mean?
But what I'm trying to say is, like, prompt engineers, it's not just me putting a prompt in.
Yeah.
Prompt engineers are people who know what buzzwords and what ways to
put in, yeah.
Like, it's a skill in itself, but the fact you need to have a skill to get the best stuff out highlights in itself that it's not quite there yet.
It's almost closing down the coder's job, but then saying there's this new avenue of prompt engineers here.
But it's not, though, because the problem with coders, as I've just said then,
it doesn't get you the old way.
It teaches you a lot of what you need, the basics, but you've still got to know how to...
I don't think I've used it yet where I've asked it a question and I've been able to pull the code and it's ran with like a little adjustment. It's needed me to spend at least 20-30 minutes further adjusting.
So I'll say
then it's ran.
So I'll say just give me something that does this generic purpose.
Yeah.
And then I'll tailor it. But then to answer, so basically, is it changing everything? Yes, I think it's already there. And it's going to continue to change stuff.
Yeah.
Should you be scared? Probably not. I mean, yes, but also no.
And have they got to worry about... The question was, it passed we're not law students, but it passed the bar exam, and I know that's quite a high exam, but isn't the bar done in a controlled environment?
No,
anyway,
but, but then law in itself is such a nuanced thing. Like, can it? So law is reading between the lines, reading how things are interpreted, interpreting things in a way that it
must have been able to do that though. Like, is it passed the exam?
I don't know what the bar exam looks like though. So
I think it's a high up exam, the bar.
Oh yeah, I know it is. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know whether it's like no. So like, what I'm saying is it won't say here's a law, find a unique interpretation of this law no one's ever found before. That's where your top solicitors come in.
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff like
where
that.
the fucking it'll fall over.
And like so my girlfriend, she's trained to be a solicitor. I asked her stuff. I went, ask me some questions, and she said, no, that's wrong.
Yeah, so it's fallen over.
It's not perfect.
So we can get through an exam because sort of the parameters of the bars existed for a long time, and there's loads of materials online on it.
Past exams.
Yeah, there's past exams.
So it's one of them, like, but it's like the thing, it's past the bar exam in the top 10%. It could also probably pass a lot of coding exams in the top 10%.
But isn't that a worry then, lads? I suppose in her question, is she's a PhD student in law, but I don't know whether she's going to take that after a PhD or before. I'm not sure how law works, but how do you then, like, that exam usually sorts out the chaff from like the strong? How if everyone sort of before they've went in done a practice one with ChatGPT, got it to spit all the answers and then regurgitates the next morning, like, how do you then start? Like, she must be saying, like, I'm worried that now everyone's just going to pass because they've got materials and that.
But that's
We've stumped them.
No, because when you think about it, that's not a problem for the students. It's a problem for the bar.
Yeah, but I think she's saying, like, how if I'm a good student, how is anyone ever going to know?
I interpreted
I
that as, should I be worried about my career in law or
you don't think
a career
should?
In law? No.
If she's a good lawyer, she's all right.
Not even that. It's just I don't like. So OpenAI eventually, they're like that. What's his name? Sam Altman. I think that's his name. The guy. I was listening to one of his things, and he was like, what he thinks in the future is going to be loads of like huge generative models.
Yeah.
And then people will use that generative model and like hyper train it, like in a very hyper specific area.
Yeah.
So what they'll do is they'll take this specific model, get law data, and then fine tune it on law data. So then you'll have like law GPT.
Yeah.
Right. Then we're talking about like it may be able to do really good things in the future. But the problem is solicitors, when you get into like the actual data they run in a solicitors, fucking most of them still use paper and paper filings.
Yeah, lads, and everything's on paper, and lads.
So we're really in a situation where if solicitors don't even use like basic IT, when they're not going to be running out now. It's like
an invasion of privacy, and to be connected to, like, say, you've got to have like a paper document to certain things, haven't you?
Like it's all got to be done. Like, so it's yes and no. I don't think it's going to change. I think could it change the way like law firms work potentially, especially some of the big ones. You've got the infrastructure and resource to kind of adapt it, and then say someone does this specific law model, because a lot of law documents are not on the internet. They're in like private databases, like Scopus and stuff like that. So you'd have to have one trained on this private stuff anyway. Who's going to pay for that?
Yeah.
So
don't worry
about it. And then if you do have to worry about it, just
change career.
Don't worry about it. Just get pissed.
Just get pissed. Right, you're ready. Another question.
Go on.
Someone said, why would you do a second PhD? Like, what the fuck? Explain it to me like I'm a person with only one PhD, which I am. Lads, fuck doing a second PhD, lads.
You know what? If I met someone and they were Dr. Squared.
Dr. Squared.
Dr. Squared.
Lads, I want that on my name, lads.
All day.
I want Dr. Squared
Dr.
on my name, lads. Lads, I'd be pissed off if I'd done 2 PhDs and I'm just still doctor, man. I want doctor and that fucking 2 at the top, man. I want the square.
The problem is, I don't get it. Like, well, I do get it. And you've got to be like shit hot.
But lads, aren't you just completely undervaluing yourself? You're going to accept another 3 years of a low wage after doing it for 3 years.
Do you want to say what it is?
Like, someone should be paying you. If you want to do that research, you now need a proper wage to do it.
Do you want to say what it is?
Shouldn't be doing it for 15k a year again.
I tell you what it is. It's people who... There's 2 in it. You're really, really fucking clever. And 2, you really, really love a subject.
Oh, no, but lads, you can go and do it. at a postdoc level or get a position somewhere.
But some people...
That's undervaluing yourself. You shouldn't accept 16 grand a year for another 3 years just because you love it. Like, at some point, you've got to go, yeah, I can't do this again.
But some people love it. And, like for me, if someone said to me, do I want to do another PhD? I go, obviously fucking not. Do you know what I mean? It's not happening. I'm not going to do it again. Because it's insane.
People do them again, but they're usually doing it on a proper wage, and there's a position open, and they may be a research fellow, and they'll say, do you want to do that? We'll still pay you the proper wage, but you're doing a PhD
well, then
project.
That's a different...
Because they can't get a student to do it.
That's a different kettle of fish then, isn't it?
Do you know what I mean? I think this person's asking, why the fuck, because he's but like, what the fuck? Why would you take on another...
Because you're an absolute loon.
Fucking psychopath. Like, the stress you go through to do a PhD, the panic of like deadlines, not knowing what you're doing and that. To get to the end of year 3, year 4, year 5, whatever year you finish, and then to go, right,
boy,
I'm starting again
yeah,
with a whole set of supervisors, a new topic, lads. Oh, lad, it gives me anxiety thinking about it, lads.
No, I think, to answer your question, why would anyone do it? They're just insane.
Yeah, it made me laugh, like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? What makes I thought that question, the way they phrased it, it's like they've walked into someone that day who's got 2 PhDs and their heads
Then yeah, they walked away like, the fuck?
Nah, I can't cope with what I've just read.
Right, what question's this, lad?
No idea.
Okay, I'm trying to look for one which I found. Right. Okay. For too long, this is on Academic Chatter.
This is because this is going to be like a long set.
This is on Academic Chatter. It said, and this was a professor on Academic Chatter, so it wasn't a PhD student, and it was, for too long, the essence of what makes us human, our empathy, values, emotions, have been dismissed. Are you laughing, lads? This is a serious question, lads. Fuck you, lads. This is a top professor, lad, asking this.
It's fucking mad, isn't it?
You ready?
People are so serious.
For too long, the essence of what makes us human. I'm not laughing. Lads, you ready? Shut up. Right. This is a top professor on Academic Chatter, and I think it was a he. Or what? They were worried that they'd had too many colleagues and students without these skills. And the question was, don't laugh, for too long, the essence of what makes us human, our empathy, values, emotions, have been dismissed as soft skills and relegated to the sidelines. Why? These are important.
I think if you're talking from big institution sides, it doesn't make money, does it? If you're going to be very cynical on the topic.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it should be. I think the way PhD students and the way just academia in general is treated, it's treated like everyone's treated like a machine.
Yeah.
You want to sit there, you've got to pump it out, you've got to keep going. You're burnt out. Fuck you, doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of like this whole thing where it's like human emotion, well, we're paying you. Get on with it. You've got to work. Oh, you've not finished in your 37.5 hours a week we're paying you for. Well, you've got the weekends.
Yeah,
You've got your evenings.
There's a lot of like expectation to work for nothing.
And then there's a lot of people who say genuinely don't give a shit about all this and will happily work 100 hours a week.
Yeah.
How'd you keep up with them?
Yeah, and I think
there's this whole it's crazy. It's a crazy space.
I think as well. I'm not sure if it was quite, it's a loose question, but I don't know if they're getting at like when you're trying to hire someone or you're looking for a colleague, maybe if you just look at what is the academic record,
numbers.
You just look at the numbers.
Yeah.
You might get a really intelligent human who's going to serve the institute well, but if you don't consider how does this person fit with the other colleagues, or do they have soft skills like the ability to emote and present and be a member of the team? Like, would you rather have in a research team someone who was super on the ball but a horrible person to work with, or someone who
whatever
maybe
the second one is?
Yeah.
I don't need to hear it.
Or someone who might not be as talented in the area, they've still got talent, but the sound, they're empathetic, they're nice in the area. I don't know if they're getting at that, but I think they're trying to say like those skills are disregarded in academia and we forget who the true person is behind the research, and
they stand for a lot, you know what I mean? And
yeah, so the question was specifically why they disregarded
why they disregard, you know, and I think there are people in interview, maybe they do, but I'm not sure everyone looks at the
because I've been in interviews where it's very emotionless, it's very,
there's no questions about
it's
you.
very this, and then I've been in an interview where I walked in, they read like me, it was after undergrad actually. I walked in, I'd done my undergrad project on like forecasting and like betting and stuff.
I remember that, yeah, it was a sick project though.
And then that's all the interview was, and I got the job because we had a conversation for an hour, you know, just talking about, and then I got on with them, they got on with me, so as soon as they offered me the job I was like, yes, sick. But then, so I've seen both elements, and like I totally agree with you that people who are dead, I'd rather have someone on my team who was less clever on paper, but was just like,
this was Jordan,
infinitely better.
Your undergrad?
No, so when I'd left my undergrad, when I went into industry,
yeah, I remember.
Like, but just even getting away from that, just in general, I'd rather work with people who I got on with, because if you're not the same academic or the best academically, right, everyone knows what your strengths and weaknesses are. A team is a team, and a team that works better is one that's like is ultimately going to get further than 10 people who are like the best in the world all competing to try and I think that's where it falls down, because you see it in unis all the time. The emotion comes out of it. There's no like camaraderie.
It's cold, yeah. Especially since COVID, it's gone cold.
It's cold, and like teams will argue with each other because it's I want this, I'm doing this, I want my name this, I want this here, this. There's no collaboration, and if there is, it's all with like selfish intent. So I think it has been neglected. Why? Again, going back to my first statement, I think because it's not efficient.
And I think,
do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and it's the system of academia which drills out those sort of personalities and in people to only want to talk about the measures on the CV.
Of course,
the numbers, because they know it's not important to the measures. The numbers on your CV are important, like the papers you've published, what it's on, your grades, whatever you're interested in. But I think the person's also important, man. Like it's all right being, you know, the most talented physicist in the world, and you'll get a lot out of that. But I think there's a lot to be said for someone who can integrate with a team and be a worthy member of a team. Of course.
And like I'm gonna go back just to reiterate the point what I said. Like when I said it's inefficient, I don't necessarily believe that's wrong. So it's like,
whoa, motorbike.
Yeah, very loud.
Very loud.
Excuse me, mate. Lads. I'm recording a podcast here.
You're fucking podcast.
Keep the bike down.
You rude asshole.
Rude. People are trying to sleep.
Go ahead, lad.
So there was a quote, I can't remember who it was. It could have been one of the lecturers actually at John Moore's. And it was going on about like we were doing. Yeah, it would have been John Moore's and one of the lecturers there. We were going on about like in operational like situations. He was like, don't go into a company and just gut it. You know, we were doing like what's operations research?
Operational research.
Yeah, the one with the lines in it. What's it called? That
graph theory?
No, not graph theory. Where you do the lines and it's like the feasible.
Yeah, game theory.
No.
Like the distance less travelled type thing.
No, what's it called?
Network theory.
No.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's to do with basically like it's to do with like min-maxing what you need, so like what you need from an area, and then basically you can use it to identify if there's too many people in one area. And then he just came out with this thing and he was like, look, yeah, you can do it, but redundancy in an area isn't necessarily a bad thing. And not redundancies and like get rid of jobs. I mean like redundancy in terms of you only need 2 people, but you've got 5. Because when you put it in the terms of like an orchestra, technically you only need a violinist, a flute.
Like many hands like work.
But no, and it's one of them. In an orchestra you could have the same number of instruments, there's like 5 or 6 people.
Yeah.
But then when you fill it out, it sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same thing now, where it's like, just because you're not hiring the best people, if you hire people who are empathetic and have these wide range of experience,
you fill those skill gaps with,
you'll have a much richer team.
But have you got the funding to do that? It goes into
of course. I mean? So that's what I was getting at there. It's an interesting question. I don't suppose it's really an answer, but it's more.
Yeah, I think me and Ryan think it's important to also think about someone's other side rather than just the measures.
I think that comes from a personal anecdote on that is at the job I was at. So there was me and there was another guy who they took on at the same time. So obviously I had my undergrad from John Moores, which in industry it is what it is. Yeah. People don't look at it the same as they do from other unis. Same as if you go to any ex-poly or like second uni in the city. It's not seen as highly as others. Yeah. And I got hired the same time as this guy who'd done physics at uni of Liverpool, and he had a master's in physics as well from somewhere. He so clever.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the soft skills like that
to work in a team and be valued.
And then eventually redundancies came round, and they kept me
heavy
over him.
But on paper, when you've both come in the door, he was the more...
On paper, I shouldn't have got the job.
Yeah.
On paper, I was not as good.
If they just looked at CV and never met you two, they'd keep the captain.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. So I think, why is it not regarded? Because I think everyone likes to play by the book.
Yeah.
And like, this is like the things you need.
You know what else as well?
I think you're missing out.
The higher you go academically in these institutions, the less those soft skills are there. Or they were called soft skills. This person thinks they're not. But we both went to a polytech to do our undergraduate degrees, and because the standard to get in that university isn't quite as high, I think you pick up more rounded people.
Of course you do.
You don't pick up like the intellectual,
like people
monsters who...
Yeah.
But sometimes those intellectual monsters, they're missing parts of a character which would be valuable in teams at John Moore's, like, there was just a lot of sound people who they might not have always been the most academically gifted, but they'll get on in life they'll get on in research because there's more to them than just a measure on the CV. They've got personal skills. They can just persevere
and they can get through it. But yeah, it's a good question, that, because I think it is something that's missing. Not just even in academia, I think just in general.
In life, man.
People need more emotion. They need more emotion in their lives.
You gotta cry. You should cry sometimes. Right, another question. This is a serious question, but I think you're going to laugh at it, lad.
No, I won't.
It's actually meant to be a serious question.
Right, go on.
Right.
I'm laughing now because you've said I'm going to laugh.
Academic chatter, and this was a professor, said, sharing that you don't want to use the title doctor is a privilege not everyone has. Without the title, some, particularly underrepresented folk, aren't seen, taken seriously, or believed. Remember this if you find yourself questioning why others proudly display it.
So is this basically questioning the people who attack other academics for using the word doctor? No,
this is people who openly state, I'm a doctor, but I don't want to be called a doctor, is a privilege because not everyone without the title is a privilege not everyone has. Without the title, some aren't seen, taken seriously, or believed, especially underrepresented groups.
No, but I get it. Like, for me personally, I don't understand why people wouldn't want to use the title, because the title is something that is like, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like,
earned.
It's earned. It's fucking very, like, it's hardly, like, hard earned. You've got to put the time in to get it. But also what it does is, like, when you speak on your area, you have to be taken seriously, because if a doctor, someone with a PhD, they are an expert in the area, that's what it means.
I think, and you're right. I think this person's saying as well, if you're a professor who's done it 20 years, you're known in an area, if you take your title away, people still know who the fuck you are.
So
if you're brand new, you need some type of respect to get people to listen, and if you haven't got anything in your title, you might get it, because you should get it. Everyone deserves respect and to be listened, but some people won't listen to you.
So is this person basically attacking those who say, you shouldn't display your doctor?
Yeah, and they're saying it's a position of privilege.
But then again, it's one of them whole points where I come back to, and it applies to everything in life, right? So the people who don't use doctor and then go at people for not using it. Why do you give a fuck?
Yeah, I just don't give a fuck.
Why do you give a shit?
Ass, yeah.
Why do you... Right, it honestly grates...
Just fucking get on with your life.
It really grates me nipples, right? Why do people give such a shit?
I know, I kind of get it. Like, the person saying, like, I have to use it because maybe
the person saying, I need to use my doctor, sir, they've got nothing to justify. And the people who don't use it I've got nothing to justify. But then the people who don't use it are like, oh, you're just stuck up your own ass because you can't. Fuck you, man.
I'll be honest.
Who's ass?
The fucking second if I get my PhD, I get my PhD.
That's
I'm changing me Twitter, me Instagram, me. I'm ringing, I'm belling me fucking GP and saying I'm booking an appointment for tomorrow. I'm coming in, and when I sit down, I want Dr. Sam Edder to come in, and we'll have a conversation eye to eye, man. Because we're both doctors.
It's going on my Amazon account first.
It's going on my Amazon account. I'm telling Pat next door, Pat, I'm saying, girl, I've got a PhD.
No, but like, I think it is like a privileged thing to say not use it, because like the people who say they use it, I bet they've not come from like areas like Runcorn, Liverpool, Manchester.
They've not come from deprived areas.
They've not come from an area where it's like no one does that. No one I know. Well, there's one person I know actually, and they're a proper doctor. So hats off to you, because I'm just mimicking. I'm mimicking a proper. But like, there's one person I went to school with who's gone on to be a proper doctor. No one else is doing a PhD.
Yeah.
Where we come from, no one does it. It's not a dumb thing.
I didn't even know anyone who went to fucking uni. Like, growing up, I didn't know anyone who went to uni. That might seem mad. I knew no one.
Did I?
Bar the teachers who were teaching me in school, because it's a
I.
prerequisite of being a teacher. You must have went to uni to do teaching.
Not
outside of the people who were teaching me in that school. Any of me mates, mums and dads, my mum, I didn't know anyone.
I don't think I did either, you know.
Or I was oblivious to it.
I'm the first in my family. So one of my older cousins did it through work, but I'm the first one to go, nah, I'm going uni.
Yeah.
And I think it's telling, like the people who are saying that, I guarantee are people who've like
take it for granted.
It's people. It's the dumb thing in their family.
You've just said who cares, but you've got a position.
No, my point is, I care now that they're giving a shit. They've made me give a shit about them.
Yeah, I think
my point is, if someone came up to me and was like, hello, I'm Mr. I don't know, Wigglesworth.
Wigglesworth! I go, lad, you're not a cat, what the fuck?
I go, hello, I'm Mr. Wigglesworth. I go, oh, okay, then we start talking and they're like, oh yeah, I did my PhD in this. Oh right, okay, how come you're not called doctor? I just don't like it. Right, okay, fair enough. I'm not going to go, you
privileged asshole. Yeah, let them do it, man.
Let them do it. And that to me, I think the person who made the point there makes a very valid point.
Yeah, they
People have to do it because, as you say, in industry and in life, people from minorities, or even if you're a woman, people don't take you serious.
Yeah,
they don't.
Yeah,
and it's wrong.
That's true, lad. Like,
people don't take you serious.
But I've noticed, like, women in academia, like, I've heard, not going to name names, but I've heard stories of like just going into a room full of men and like being asked to like be the scribe in the meeting.
It's pathetic, lad.
And like,
it's so pathetic.
Like, this is a story from someone, who I know, but, and it's like, if you've got the doctor in your name, maybe they wouldn't do that.
And that's the thing. So then it's like you've got to have it.
Why, yeah.
I get why people want to use it, and to say people not to use it, I think it's a very, very silly opinion.
All right then, next question. Next question.
How was I going to laugh at that?
I thought you were just going to... Well, you never know what Belly's going to laugh at.
No.
Yeah. Oh. Not everyone. I think this is... Okay, I'll ask you. You ready?
Go on. Is it soft or...
Sorry, you know that last one? You know that last one about empathy and that? There was another bit to that.
Fuck off, we can't go back to a question.
We're not going back to it, but it said, yet these capacities drive everything: culture, engagement, leadership, innovation, collaboration. The soft skills that are disregarded.
Well, essentially, we got to that on our own.
Right, next question.
Yeah, we're validated. Lads, we're correct.
Yeah, I got to that on my own.
My opinion is correct.
Not everyone with a PhD has the skills or the experience to be a leader.
Agreed, because being a PhD is not about being a leader.
Yeah, that's a quick answer.
I think it's nonsense, because being a PhD is a degree and a training opportunity to learn how to be a researcher. It's not how to be a leader.
Yeah.
Being a leader takes other qualities, like the soft skills. It's all about like the skills to do a PhD. It's not about leading.
Yeah.
It's about determination and grit and understanding yourself and understanding an area. Leadership's totally different.
I know what they mean, though, because I think sometimes people who end up with like a high academic like prowess or CV,
they get put into positions of leadership because they've got the intelligence.
Because they're the top of the pile.
But really, someone who mightn't have got as many measures on the academic scale as them,
they're a better
with
leader.
just better leadership skills,
being a leader,
they can lead the squad better, man.
You don't have to be anywhere near the top of the academic tree to be a great leader.
To run a research group, you just need to sort of know what's going on, make sure everyone's doing the stuff
because
properly.
Leadership's, it's totally different. It's about managing people, leadership.
Yeah.
It's not
You're
about
right,
managing
lads.
research, yeah.
Maybe this person's seen a few too many
Well, no,
people
but I
with
get
PhDs
that because, like,
getting into high positions and then thinking they're not fit for this
it's not
job.
even so much PhDs. You'll go into a lot of companies where the person at the top is there because they're the most qualified or they've been there the longest.
Yeah.
Just because you've been there the longest doesn't mean you're any better at this than anyone else. You might know more, obviously you've been there. Doesn't make you a good leader because you've been there a long time.
No, you're right, lads.
Yeah.
Right, you ready? No, we'll do a few more. You ready?
Go on.
If someone with a PhD is working in a job that doesn't require a PhD, I really don't think that's a case to be paraded.
Do you want to what I'm going to refer your answer to?
Are you angry at this?
Yes, I'm going to refer you to my answer from 2 questions ago. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah, like, sure.
Like, be paraded, right? What? Right.
We're hating on these questions all of a
Yeah,
sudden.
but no, because these are the same type of people who have a go at people. Oh, you only work in Mackey's. What's fucking wrong with that?
Yeah,
If your job is working at Mackey's, what's wrong with that?
If you're happy, man.
If you're happy with
fuck
it,
off, yeah.
Yeah, you did a PhD because you really enjoyed the research area and you got a job doing something else. What do you fucking do?
Yeah.
See, it angers me.
No, yeah, like, you might have done a PhD. How do you know the person got the PhD? Might be the most intelligent person ever, blah, 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 done a PhD in molecular biology, and then they want to just go and do a different thing.
Nothing to do with what they did.
Yeah, they want to go and cut hair, they want to be a barber.
I've had fun now. I'm going to do another passion.
You know what? I'm really into barbering. I want to go and be a barber. Like, why is that a problem? Why can't they be paraded that? Why can't they say, oh, I'm a doctor, by the way, but I'm a barber. That's my job.
What's it? Yeah,
I enjoy barbering.
It's this whole narrative.
You've got a really
now
intelligent barber cutting your hair.
It's fucking brilliant. And you know what? I'd feel safer.
I'm in safe hands.
Hello, I'm Dr. Barber. Brilliant. Get in.
Can I book an appointment with Dr. Barber? How much will that cost? He's 300 quid. His hands are exceptional.
Can I play by Klarna, mate? But that one, it's the same answer. Like, why do you care? If people want to do something they enjoy, people want to do something they enjoy. And even if they're not doing something they enjoy, work's work, man. You've got to fucking... Life isn't free.
Yeah. All right.
So what do you want people to do? Hang around until they can do something?
Yeah, but they got to do what you want to do.
It's rattled me cage, that.
Right, you ready? Surely if journals/editors can't find enough reviewers these days, and so many of us are ejecting to review, they should consider adding some incentives, such as paying a small fee or 25 of your next publication with them.
Oh yeah. So before I go off on one here, for those who don't understand the publication process, because there might be people who listen who don't know who aren't in academia. So when you do a bit of research that you go, ooh, that's quite good. That's kind of what...
That's shit hot.
Yeah, that's fucking great. So what you do then is you want to put it out to the scientific community. So the way you would do that typically is like, you can just put it on Twitter. But then...
Post a graph.
But the reason academia is what it is because
Twitter's the best way these days. Sorry, go on.
Is it's all peer reviewed in it. Yeah. So the idea is you submit it to a journal, and by submitting it to a journal, you get peers in your area and similar areas to read your work and scrutinise it, so that when it's published, it's been peer reviewed. So then you can say that this work is valid. That's the idea. Now.
Yeah, like I write a paper. Ryan also knows a lot about this area. I say, Mr. Ryan Belfield has peer reviewed my paper with, and then I can send it to the journal with proof of evidence.
So now I'll review it and go, no, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Or I can say, no, but you need to change these things out. Blah, blah, blah. So, but the problem is when you submit to these journals, they're not free. So if you submit to, say, for example, I'm in the process at the minute of submitting a paper to a journal called Scientific Reports. If my paper gets accepted, that's going to cost me about £1,800 to publish my work for somebody else to read, and I get no money back on that. That's me just paying it.
You're paying to get people to read it.
Yeah, so I'm paying, so it's open access, so it's out there for the community.
To get exposure, yeah.
Right, so, and 1,800 quid it's relatively cheap.
Yeah.
In
academic terms,
like some journals can charge you like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Like on average, I see it's like £3,000. Anyway, so then the way it works is you submit a paper to a journal. So I go scientific reports. Hi, here's my work. I've wrote up. I think it's shit hot. I need you to review it. So then they'll assign an editor. The editor will read it. If they like it, they'll go, right, we'll get reviewers. So reviewers are people like me, Sam, other people in the academic community who they'll just email and go, here's a paper, can you review? Do you want to be a reviewer on this paper? So this is going back to getting around to the question. So the problem is at the minute reviewing papers is seen as a part of an academic career.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to just review papers. And then the idea is, because you review papers, everyone else review papers, and it's all kind of cyclical kind of thing to it, where everyone reviews papers and publishes them. But no one wants to do it,
for the greater good
because
of like academia. Yeah.
It's a horrendous job to do. It takes ages, and especially with the pressures university place on staff now to teach and publish, and where do you get the time to do it?
Yeah.
So
and you can't just rush it. You can't just do 20 minutes, because if you give it the go ahead and then it's a piece of shit, your name's on it as if you reviewed it and said it was great.
Yeah, and then not only are the authors ridiculed, you're also ridiculed.
Yeah, so you need to take it serious. Your name's at stake.
So the whole point is, like this person was saying, why should reviewers be given an incentive? Wholeheartedly, yes, they should. 100%. Because going back to what I was saying there, why are journals charging $3,000 and keeping all the money?
Where's that
money going?
Yeah, look, how much profit are they turning on like a 10 grand journal?
Don't get it.
Like, all they're doing is formatting it based off what the fuck you've sent them.
We send it in the right format.
Well, they've got to put their fucking little logos on it or whatever. They've got to put a few bits on it, and then they put it online. Like, that's a one-man job.
Like, for example, there's a DOI fee. So every paper that gets published has its own ID. It's called a DOI number. I'm not sure what DOI is, what it stands for. I probably should.
Just a little ID number.
Yeah. So I think there's like an admin charge to process, because they maintain it. They have done for years, this repository of DI numbers and IDs. So yeah, fair enough. There's a charge associated to that. There's a charge for hosting the paper and such, right? But then these journals also get paid by universities to give all their students open access. So, the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck's going on? But
I don't get it.
Isn't the argument to be made, like, if you started paying reviewers, like, the goodwill of reviewing, which is, there's no bias in it because you're not getting paid to do it. Whereas if you start paying reviewers...
No, so the money for it, I know what you're about to say, does it introduce
if you were
bias?
getting paid a certain amount, and I'll give you 100 to do it as long as you say it's good, you know what I mean?
So the money won't come from me.
It'd have to come from...
The money would have to come from the journal.
Yeah.
So the journal then...
You have no idea who the person is.
Yeah, so the journal just goes, right, do you want to review this paper? Boom, there's your money.
You're an expert in fucking horses. There's a paper on horses.
Is 100 quid, 50 quid, whatever. Review it. No, don't like it, Sam. But you still get your money because you reviewed it. You spent your time. So
that's my worry. If it wasn't that controlled,
if I picked reviewers, then what's the point in that? And I pay them myself. Then the bias comes in. But if they're paid by, even if it's just
people do sometimes pick who reviews the studies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, you just recommend.
That's what I mean.
But you don't know if they got selected.
Well, you do.
But you don't.
Yeah, you're not meant to, but you can go, reviewed your paper.
Yeah, but then again,
it was great.
Just scrap that. Because then
that's what I mean, you'd have to control that now.
But the thing is, the reason they have to do that is because no one wants to review papers.
Exactly, yeah.
So if people started paying, you could get rid of that.
You could
because
just cut that out
the
where you don't know
pool
who's
of
doing
people who would be there to review
it'd be so big,
it'd be massive. You'd have too many reviewers.
You could have people who maybe they wanted the career change and they just wanted to review for a living. They just every day review papers.
But then what you'd have to do is you'd have to put requirements on it such that to be a reviewer, you have to be still active in the field. Else otherwise you would get that. You'd have professional reviewers.
Is that not why is that an issue?
Because then the problem is what you could do is you could say me now. I could technically then, for time memoriam, make life as a professional reviewer, even though we published one thing
Oh no,
last
but
year.
what's the problem with someone who's been in academia for 20 years, published 500 papers, and then was like, I'm done, I want to be a reviewer?
Yeah, but then at that point, after 20 years, you've got the...
That's what I mean. So they should be as long as you've got
100 published papers, you can do it full time. If you haven't, you've got to be active.
But then the problem is you wouldn't want to do it full time, because then the problem is the chances of you reviewing something and something getting through the cracks goes up.
Becomes higher because you're doing it all the time.
But yeah, so I think, should reviewers be paid? Yes, because the academic system and publishing system's fucked.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it needs fixing.
You
and
need
I
to
think
pay
that's
them, man.
it's one way to fix it, and I think that would go a long way to fixing it. Journals, stop charging as much, man. Had enough of it.
Yeah, I see him on the other day. It was like, what you've just said, they're like 9k.
Pointless.
Like, who the fuck's getting 9k together?
Cheers for that, mate. I'll go elsewhere.
I'll just put mine on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'll just put it on Facebook.
Yeah, I'll get Twitter blue, mate.
Just get me ma to comment on Facebook when I post it. Great work, son.
Yeah. You've done a good job there, son. Do you want your tea?
Don't get it, but great work.
And my ma says that to me all the time.
Yeah, I've given my ma, like, do you want to spell check that? Or, like, if she's interested, yeah, I'll read that. I don't get it, but it looks good.
And it's like, yeah, but that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah. All right, next question.
Is this how long we've been going for?
How many more? Should we do 2 more? I'll do one.
Yeah, we'll do 2 more.
A soft one, and we'll finish
then
it.
we can round it up.
Right.
I'm conscious. I think we've been going a while, so I don't want to.
Okay, quick one then. Quick answer.
Go on.
Today my worst fear happened.
No.
My landlord brought someone to tour my apartment. When I opened the door, it was my PhD student. I've never been more mortified in my entire life.
Lad, I've seen that on Twitter the other day. Lad, because the problem is, it's a no. So there's 2 ways the student showed up, and neither of them are a win for the researcher there, for the lecturer. Because one, it means you live in a really nice area, but that student coming to look at it is more money than you. So you're like,
it's got more dough already.
Or you live in such a shithole.
A student can
the student's like, get in. So either way, it's a no-win.
Lad,
that's class.
If you were trying to get rid of your Kendo and, like, I don't know, you'd done weird shit in there, and there was, like, evidence of it, and you were just wanting to get off, you were giving it to a randomer. But, lad, now your student's coming in and you've, like, I don't know, drawn Satan pictures on the wall or something.
Yeah, like you're a bit of a...
See you on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, walking out.
Yeah, like say you're a bit of a strange individual.
Why have you shot arrows at a picture of Boris Johnson over there on the wall? Just like...
Oh, lad, that's clashing.
Why are you throwing axes at pictures of Jeremy Clarkson?
Lad, that'd be mortified me.
Right, I want to end on this one.
That'd be mortified.
You ready?
Right, go on.
Because you don't have to give me 10. But this is quite... decent. So this is someone said, I'm in the 2nd year, this is on a forum, 2nd year of my PhD, and these are 10 lessons I have learned in this short period. They then go on to give 10 lessons.
Yeah.
I'm not going to read them because I want you to give me a few. You don't have to give me 10. You're in the 3rd year of PhD, Belly. What are some things now, good, bad, ugly, that if you could tell Ryan Belfield of Runcorn 3 years ago, what would you tell them?
Does it have to be specific to, like, about a PhD, or just what I've learned from the PhD?
Go on, you do it.
So the first one for me is that, like, I've learned that being happy with what I do is more important than what I do. If that makes sense. So, like, before I started my PhD, you're in the position you've done. I did well at undergrad, did well at masters. There were doors open. I could have gone and earned money, but I've hated it. And then now, after doing this, I can go back to them and go, look, you're doing the right thing here. Like, do something you enjoy rather than doing it for the money.
Yeah, you're right.
And then, I think that's the biggest one. The second one is, like...
What have you learned? Like, that's a good one. I agree, lads. Yeah, I don't know whether I learned that. I don't know whether I thought that before, but...
No, that's something that's become...
In my opinion, I'm not a dough chaser because I'll become fucking miserable. Man.
That's something that's, like... come as part of the PhD.
For
like,
you.
Here's what I found.
Oh, my phone's...
What did you find?
My fucking Apple Watch is answering it during my PhD.
But yeah, that's something that's come out of the PhD definitely for me is clarity on what to do going forwards. It's like, for me, just be happy, and then the money comes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's too much to it, man. There's too much to life to worry about.
Is there anything you'd tell yourself right outside? That was like a big life answer, but like, if you were to tell Belly something about a PhD 3 years ago, if someone's thinking about doing one, or something about academia that you've now learned,
focus on your work-life balance more than anything else, because it's so easy to get absorbed in doing a PhD.
You were saying that about last year, you become absorbed.
Like, I'd get up at like 9, 10, start work at, like, again, it's a half an hour after I woke up. I'd still be working 1 a.m. I'd give up doing everything that I enjoyed doing, because you become obsessed with it, because then you're like, because it's your own project, I've got to keep going, got to keep going. And then now I do it properly, like split it, like try and do a proper working day. I get arguably the same and or more work done.
Because
I'm doing other things.
You've got more energy when you get to it,
and do other things that I enjoy along the way. So I think the biggest one for me is focus on your work-life balance, because doing a PhD, it's so, in academia in general, it's so hard to get absorbed and let that dominate. Like, a PhD isn't your only thing in life.
Yeah, so many people are defined by the
PhD
aspect of them,
or more generally, as you say, one aspect of their character or what they are.
Yeah.
There's more to life than just the one thing. And I think with PhD, again, because a lot of people don't do PhDs, it's very easy to make it your thing and focus on it as your thing.
Yeah.
And then I fell into that, and I've had to go, you know what, step out of that. So that's one piece of advice.
Yeah.
And then the others are just general stuff around, like, how working on a PhD, like, just keep going. Like, don't get disheartened when it doesn't go the wrong way. Like, well, when you inevitably go, like, you will go the wrong way.
You will fuck up. You will do something shit.
You will go the wrong way in your research, and then
that's just in life. That's just me.
Yeah,
you're gonna fuck up, man.
But with your PhD, because obviously you come from, especially me, you come from your undergrad and your masters, where it's just yep, exam brilliant, yep, exam brilliant. With your PhD, you'll go yep, shit, yo, no, and then go off a different way.
You're right.
Because, like, you'll go one way, and then you'll go right, going down the right way. I've reached the limit of what this can do, but in doing this, I've seen there's this other way which can definitely get me further. So you got to go back. So it's an exploratory process where
it's a marathon, lad. That's a famous saying. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It's a marathon,
not a sprint, and you've got to get it wrong to get it right. Yeah, and don't be disheartened when you get it wrong.
Man, similar, I'd say, if I was answering it, lads.
Yeah, because I can't give 10, because that's...
No, I haven't got 10 on the spot, but...
I think they're big for me.
Man, it'd be what Ryan said's right, lad. What Ryan said's right. Don't throw away things in life which you enjoy before your PhD or before this new career you've took. Try and keep them in. If you like skateboarding, if you like fucking swimming, if you like going to the gym, if you like painting, playing music, fucking solving Rubik's Cubes, which I like doing, make time for that, lads. Make time, or I say lads, sorry, that's just anyone. Make time for that, make time for your mates. It is important, your PhD, but you are gonna die one day. That's inevitable. And if you don't make time for that, you'll realise, as Berry said he did last year, he realised he'd done a year and didn't really enjoy it. He just sort of like coasted through without doing things he still liked.
Because I felt I had to just do and do. And then you realise that, like, yeah, I'm moving forward here, but, like,
everywhere else
I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest one for me. Is like you got to keep yourself kind of level, and you do that by doing other things you enjoy.
You've got it, and as you say as well, there's peaks and troughs. You're gonna have days when you're not productive.
Yeah.
When you're even trying to be, but something won't work. Studies not gone to plan. You can't think of something to write. Code's broke.
It's not the end of the world, man.
Just fucking. Not every day is going to be a good fucking day, man. Some days is shit. Just fucking go to bed and wake up the next day and have
another go. It's all about the journey.
One thing I'd end on, lad, which I'd probably say I've learned over the PhD, this is not to put people off PhD, but academia is full of bureaucracy.
Oh, lad.
There's so many checks and balances to jump
much.
through. And one thing I've realised, lad, is I wonder how much universities and big institutions are hindering great science being done. And
you know what,
we stop. Yeah. I think the nature of the university system, and it's one thing I'd like to see change, is it's hard because you've got all ethical balances in place, like, giving people access to data, letting them do stuff.
Like, there's bureaucracy which is there for legitimate reasons,
but there's so much fucking bullshit as well.
Then there's so much bureaucracy that's there for the sake of.
And I didn't realise for it on a PhD, like the amount of form filling and like just doing stuff which isn't research. And I just wonder how much, if we let people just do what they're good at doing how much great research will be done rather than just good research or average research.
That's
how much are we hamstringing people?
That's another big one. I'd say watch out for the admin.
Yeah, if you don't like admin, maybe it's not for you because it's all you've got no assistant. You're doing your own admin.
yeah, you can't afford to buy.
You're answering your own emails. You're filling your own forms.
Unless you've got a little brother or a little sister who who you just throw them a score.
You can slap up and just get them to do something.
Type that up for me, lad. I'll give you 20 bones.
Right, that's it then.
But yes, that is our first Agony Aunts. Academic Agony Aunts episode done.
That's a tongue twister, that. Academic Agony Aunts.
It's good though, isn't it? So yeah, there are our opinions on a few things. We hope you found it useful. Or if you've not found it useful, at least you found it interesting. And if you've not found it, both of them too, that means we've probably pissed you off and you're going to give us clicks and likes anyway.
Yeah, dislike us, man.
Dislike us, give us comments, because...
we haven't had any hateful comments the last few weeks. We missed them.
Yeah, we missed them. We
got some hate a few weeks ago. We liked it.
But yeah, so as we said, we're going to do these every few weeks. So the next one will be about episode 10. That's kind of the idea. When I'll be collating the questions and we'll be getting Sam's unfiltered opinions on the world. But if you've listened to this and you feel particularly inspired, or you've gone, yeah, that really pisses me off as well, let us know. Send us your questions in and then we can throw them in episode 10.
Would you room with someone out of come?
Yeah, and if they were called Mr. Wigglesworth, would that
put you off even more?
Let us know. But yes, so that's it from us. We hope you've enjoyed it. Next episode is our first, we'll tease it now, is our first guest on the podcast.
Yeah, man.
He is the programme leader for the maths department at John Moore's. Been doing that for, I don't know how many years he's been
100?
doing that. It's got to be at least 150. We joke we've been mates with him for a while, so yeah, at least 200. So he's going to come on. We're going to cover kind of the university education system, how we've seen it change over the years, what he thinks is good and bad about it, and more importantly, how things are going to change.
Especially with the light of new technologies like chat, GPT.
Yeah, so if that piques your interest, tune in next week, and we'll see you then.
What's wrong in your opinion with the education system? In time for next week, you tell us.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off then. Yeah, I said see you in a bit, and then you were like,
well. Oh, sorry. Right, I'm gonna end it. See you in a bit.